Well, it's Monday. How's it going? Listen, I'm your Andy Jensen lighting double, and I'll be doing the intro duties. So, of course, we'll have our delightful Miss Susan, our poetess. She's going to bring us the week in review. But let's skip ahead to the hostess with the most, the guy who brings us all together every week. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Sweetman.
Hey, we gotta have you give Andy some lessons on introducing.
Well, I'm trying to copy the guy from what's his name? Jerry Sandling's show. You know, Hank, whatever his name was.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. You know what? I got to find that on a streaming service and watch that again. I never really saw it the first time because it was on Showtime, and I didn't have Showtime. I only saw it when they ran it on other networks or YouTube.
So it says we're that I'm in the show also, but we only have your lovely face, Mr. Sweetman.
All right, hold on.
Well, we can see you. You're out here.
There we go.
Oh, I couldn't see everybody. I don't know.
Trust me, you're there.
Yeah.
No, you know, that was back in the day when cable was expensive, and if you were poor, you could just afford. Well, it was either HBO or Cinemax. You know, because they were all different at that time. Of course, later they were all converged and merged, and now, of course, we have a never-ending stream of digital input. You know, that can be used to rot our souls right to the very core. But
well, you couldn't stream it either back then. You had to watch whatever they were airing at the time. We had a local one, Channel 20, ran a pay-per-view kind of a service too.
I remember that.
We had some pay-per-views as well, but let's not go into that right now. It's a family show. It's a family show, not the Corleone family, not the Manson family, but the Sweetman family. And so, without giving too much away, congratulations on your change in status, Susan and Mark.
Yeah, well, and the night my daughter went into labor, our son was graduating. He was actually handed his degree at Wayne State University at the moment she was contacting us to let us know she was in labor. So that was kind of an eventful night, that's for sure.
The dam broke. Where is he? Yeah, get me in here.
Well, that's her story to share, so we won't share all of that.
No,
the good news is we are now grandparents. Last week we were parents. This week we are parents and grandparents.
Right.
Beautiful baby girl.
There you go. Congratulations.
And our graduated from our alma mater, so that was kind of special.
Yes.
Wayne State?
Yep.
With
so we have another son. We have another son that's only about 17 credit hours away from his degree, but we'll see how that goes. He's had some issues getting through.
Remember being like a semester and a half away from graduating.
How far are you right now? Your credits never go away, so you could still.
No, I've graduated.
Yeah, you can go back.
No, I've graduated. I've got a couple of degrees now. They're at the bottom of my drawer over here, underneath some.
They're lining your drawers. Your sock drawers.
I found out my liberal arts degree from Wayne State actually finally had value when I went back to school to earn a different bachelor degree. I didn't have to take all that prerequisite stuff for other undergrads because liberal arts covered it all. But that's really the only value I found in my degree.
I was in this delightful purgatory where I had to take like one course. It was at the end I'd done the summer term. I'd done some aviation work and all that, and that was great. But I was like 2 credits short, and I'm like, I've got to take some 3 credit. Who knows? Damn it! I just want this to be done. And as I'm thinking that, the phone rings. It's the registrar's office from EMU saying, if you'd like to graduate, come down here now and fill out some paperwork. Before she put the phone down, she turned around and I was standing.
You were there?
The desk. Yes.
You were like in the...
Like some sort of exactly
like in the Hector Heathcote cartoons. You know?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, like some sort of aged stalker who's also perfected time travel. Which comes.
Well, it doesn't reflect well on a university if they have high enrollment and low graduation rates.
Right.
So they want to get people completed and out the door so they can brag on you.
And they did that, and I'm like, yes, I will be so happy. I went to school when I graduated, I was 40. I went to college late in life, shall we say. I went to a different college earlier in life. It was a state institution. It was through the Department of Corrections, not education.
Now, how many of those credits transferred? How those
The ones from prison, not too many.
Not too
But the other ones from Washington, I went to Washington to start with, and I'd been a high school dropout because I have a terrifyingly bad, debilitating learning disorder. I'm terribly, terribly dyslexic. But once I got to college,
so that's why you didn't notice the little holiday symbol last week.
No. Exactly. I literally learned English as a second language. And at any rate, though, I was.
What was your first language? Hillbilly?
Yeah, inbred, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So sort of German Plaudeutsch. The sort of language you used to back when you used to go buy bad weed back in the 70s. Not that you're going to do that anymore. How much money you got?
I've never bought weed in my life.
That's right. You had someone else go buy it for you. I understand. Hey, listen, Tim, I need you to go around the corner and talk to the nice guy in the house over there and tell him I need a dime bag. Here you go. No, dude. I couldn't get out of high school, but I eventually got the GED. And then once I got into WCC and then over to EMU, I was on the dean's list in both places. The only C I ever got was in an advanced stats course.
Oh, Susan had a hard time with stats too.
Well,
I got a B-. I'm right there with you.
It was a graduate level stats course. It was grad stats.
Yes, me too.
Yeah,
that was Susan as well.
And my professor,
I passed it with a B-, which was actually a gift.
I was doing what
my research paper was so good. The professor asked to use it as a sample example for future classes. But if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't have had a B-.
Yeah,
but it was heavily weighted, and so my tests weren't so great. But I did pass everything. Yeah. But that is not the place to take statistics. Not in grade.
No. I got a gentleman's C. The final was two questions were put on the blackboard up ahead of us. You could choose to answer one, and that was your final.
Everybody should go to college in their 40s, because when you're paying for it yourself, you're going to get straight A's.
You appreciate it.
My freshman year, Professor Mark Sweetman, I'll never forget the guy because, one of the reasons I won't forget him is because we rode the bus down together from Berkeley, Michigan, down to Wayne State all the time.
There you go.
But our final exam in American History 1, he taught from the exploration of the Europeans to the new continent.
Yeah, Columbian exchange.
Up past the Bank War, Andrew Jackson and the Bank War.
Yep, about 1828.
And then the next class that, if I had taken it, I never did. I wasn't studying to be a historian, so the next one was through modern day.
Yeah.
But his final exam, bring a blue book, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he said, one of these 10 questions will be on the exam.
Exactly.
And so when we got into class, open up your blue book. He told us which question it was, but we had to, because we didn't know which one we were going to write on. And you could only bring one book. He had to examine nobody could bring in a book back because he didn't want everybody writing out all 10 answers, and then picking out the book that was the right one. He wanted you to write it down while in the exam. But I thought that was a great way to do it, because now you had to study everything. And it was the 10 things that he really wanted to get across,
Yeah. And Mark couldn't finish his degree in 4 years either. He took an extra year.
I took 5 years. That's pretty common, though.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I was a high school dropout, and when I started going back to college in my mid 30s. And yes, and you're right. Once you got to it, yes, you certainly take to it. Like if it's something you wanted to do, it was something I felt that I had sort of like excluded myself because I was too busy. It was the 70s. You might remember the old expression, sex, drugs, rock and roll.
I remember that. Lawyers, guns, and money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I had Girl Scouts, so I don't remember.
So did I, until the restraining order came through and I had to give the uniform back. But
Bill Maher had that great line back when he was doing stand-up in the clubs. He said, everybody in my family's always giving me a hard time. You kids, you don't go to Vietnam. He goes, I would have. I had Little League,
Hey, Hey, do you like my sweater? Let freedom rage.
Let
Freedom,
freedom.
right? Did
It's
I get that
the
for you?
Handmaid's Tale holiday
There you go.
sweater.
There you go. Like I say, later on, I'm going to be singing "Even Squeaky Fromm Loves Christmas," my favorite Christmas carol.
You sent me that, and I haven't looked at it yet. I gotta
Oh my God! Glenn Mason. I guess he was big
We
in the
talked about how
Detroit
we had a
area.
busy week, right? Oh.
Yeah. Oh, hey, speaking of which, Susan, come on, home. Quit holding
Oh,
out on us.
we can get to the poem right now if you want.
Yeah.
Waiting to be introduced.
What?
All right, ladies
All right, you
ladies
can
and
leave
gentlemen.
everybody up. Let me read you the poem.
Okay, here she is.
All right. And I couldn't include everything. Oh, you took everybody down. All right, here we go. Today is December 22nd, 2025. Some upsets in football, perhaps a team that you cheer. I can't wait for baseball season to start in spring next year. An elevator is being installed in Italy's Leaning Tower of Pisa. And Santa, the jolly elf, travels around the world without a visa. As the year draws to a close, Santa is packing up his sleigh, concerned that air traffic controllers may direct him a different way. ICE agents are gearing up to arrest undocumented flying reindeer. Maybe this isn't true, but they profile travelers, that much is clear. Will the missing Epstein files be released or this story go away? What have you asked to have in your stocking on Christmas Day? Maybe in the next election, replacing Trump will be this nation's goal. In the meantime, under his tree, I hope Trump finds a lump of coal.
Oh, dear.
That's your poem.
Oh.
All right. Well, couple of things I think I'd like to talk about tonight from the poem. One, the Leaning Tower of Pisa with an elevator.
Yeah, they're putting in an elevator in the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Wouldn't an escalator be more appropriate for the Leaning Tower?
Yeah, would think. But
or maybe a combination of the two would be a severe escalator, or maybe an elevator. So I don't know. An elevator.
Since it won't go exactly straight up and down, it's some kind of special engineering feat. So
probably like that.
As much as I can tell you about it.
Probably like that lift that we went up when we went into the arch in St. Louis. Remember they had that lift that we went up in the arch?
Can you actually go?
Well, there's so much more in the news that I wanted to put in the poem, but I just didn't have the time.
Well, you can talk about it. What's
there's stories out there. Like 60 Minutes was going to air a story that got yanked, probably for political reasons.
Yeah.
I think they get a lot of stories yanked.
Take another oil tanker. So he's in the business of being a pirate, apparently. All this Epstein file stuff that's redacted that
well, let me ask you a question about the Epstein files.
But it's like was supposed to be released Friday. There was stuff up on the website Friday that was gone on Saturday. So they're not releasing everything, but some stuff they released, they're pulling back. So
the pictures of Bill in the hot tub are still floating around.
Oh, that's not the only thing floating around.
Well, the conversations are that.
Thank you, Mark.
That if they're trying to cover up everything with Trump's name on it, and he's letting that happen, I mean, it looks worse. We're already thinking the worst, and this story won't go away. So what's in those files that's not coming out must be far worse than this headache.
It's not going to change anybody's opinion.
Exactly. Exactly.
People who think he's a vile human being will still think he's a vile human being, and people think that he's the second coming of Jesus Christ are still going to think he's the second coming of Jesus Christ. I mean, it's not going to change anything.
The theory is that what's in the files is far worse than this headache of release the files.
These files were in the possession of the Biden administration for 4 years, and they didn't release them. Why?
I know.
What? I mean, Joe Biden sent the FBI to Mar-a-Lago with orders to shoot to kill, and yet that didn't quite work out the way he had hoped. And yet, so why on earth would they pull their punches here?
I don't know.
Yeah. And
I-
why
I
is a
don't know.
60-minute story being
I think
pulled?
it's a waste of time.
The
I think-
60-minute story has to do with that prison in El Salvador where Trump sent everybody, and very definitely there's
By the way,
political
I'm
The
paying
only
reasons
one,
really
that
the only
story
one
got pulled.
the only one that I've heard that is saying anything about it being political is the reporter who put together the story.
Yeah, well, she would know. She worked on it.
Well,
She knows
no, the
that it's
person that would
very
know would be
accurate
the
and
person that would
truthful.
know would be the person who pulled the story. That's the person who would know. And they're not going to say they did it for political reasons.
They're not going to
and
say
and,
that,
and,
but
and, and I, for
obviously
one,
it's true.
and I, for one, am going to the prison in El Salvador because it looks like the greatest repository of rough trade in the Western Hemisphere, and so
I have been to El Salvador,
I'm
by the
booking.
way.
By the way, what time is it? That was 8:16.
8:16.
8:16.
8:16 before the rough
I
and
was-
ready prison reference.
I was in El Salvador in the summer of 1977.
I think it was probably not quite in the prison district, though. I'm just guessing.
No, but it's a
But
very beautiful
by
country.
1980, El Salvador had a civil war. I remember.
Yeah, that Civil War, because everybody that went on that trip with me, we were all going to go back, and then suddenly in the 80s was all that problem. All the churches were pulling their missionaries out, and
because nuns were getting assassinated.
So the nuns and the priests were getting murdered because the missionaries all had families and children, so they were pulled by
On a more lighthearted note, the person who was alleged to have murdered Natalie Holloway, Joran Vandersloot, was supposed to have attempted suicide in his prison cell down in what Brazil or Uruguay or whatever.
All right.
God-awful country.
All right. Okay. Here's something I haven't heard of. Who is Holloway?
You don't remember? She was the young lady. A tragic story happened about 13 years ago now on Aruba. She was there with Natalie Holloway. You don't remember? She was on Aruba with her high school graduation group, and she did not return for the muster the next day. She disappeared.
I never knew they found her body.
And they never did. The person who was the person of interest is the term of art, was the son of a Dutch uppity.
Yeah, my theory.
And he's presently serving time for killing some other lady down in
my
in
theory
South America.
Is that Natalie Holloway, they didn't find her body because she wasn't dead. She was
she was dead. She was
moved into human trafficking.
Well, according to Joran, he did in fact kill her, and they got rid of her because I mean you're on an island, so I mean you do have access to water, and it can. I mean, come on, how hard we've looked for Jimmy Hoffa for years. I mean, and
wood chipper,
wood chipper, I-75, Pontiac Silverdome, Giant Stadium,
the
Brewster Projects.
Natalie Holloway disappeared January. Let's see, May 30th, 2005 was declared dead. January 12th, 2012.
It's been 20 years. That poor girl would be 38 if. Oh my God. I mean, well, they're in my mind. If you look into it, in my mind, Joran Vandersloot is the key. He's the bad guy.
So is this a questionable suicide? You get the idea?
No, sadly,
the prime suspect was Dutch national Joran Vandersloot.
Vandersloot, yep.
He made conflicting statements over the years.
Oh, yes, he has.
Well,
but he is doing time for killing another woman. So
do you get the idea? Do you get the idea anymore that all prison suicides have to be prevented because they're all questioned every time?
I think they should be. Having been there once myself, I would say they should be encouraged. But that's just me.
Yeah.
They're incredibly common, and it's very sad. And but that was recently in the media how the one fellow was being his arraignment was held up because he didn't have his full psychiatric evaluation. But they do that for all inmates on intake.
You have to.
That's a real thing.
I remember my psychiatric evaluation. I had a guy there who was some synthesis of Carl Jung and Dr. Mengele, and asking me questions off a form, but then again, he had like 100 prisoners to do that day, and you know, so I mean,
Yeah, it's not exactly meant to be, the thorough intake
no,
at a experienced psychiatric hospital. But jails
well,
are not designed to be, healthcare treatment centers. They are really for
and they make,
incarceration.
yeah,
So
tell me about it. I kept trying to leave. They wouldn't let me go. I mean, there were
so
bars everywhere, and the breakfast service was awful. And well, I could not. I mean, I was hoping for something like Cool Hand Luke with like, but no, it didn't turn out quite that way.
Anything
I
look
bet it
that
was
good,
a
just
nicer
anything
place
look that
than
good,
that
just
El
gotta be named
Salvador prison,
Lucille.
that's for sure.
She doesn't know what she's doing. She knows
She knows exactly what she's doing.
That was his second role, and he gets an Academy Award after having a career in the Air Force. George Kennedy.
George Kennedy.
He's got one minor role ahead of that. He gets the role of Dragline in Cool Hand Luke, playing up against not just Paul Newman, who looks fantastic without a shirt, but never mind that, but Dennis Hopper and
Strother Martin.
Everyone,
Dennis,
everyone
wait,
who was anybody.
wasn't Dennis Weaver? Wasn't Dennis Weaver?
Lucille. We were talking about Lucille.
Yeah.
Got to be named Lucille. Yeah,
That's still one of my favorite movies.
It is, yes.
And it has that wonderful Lalo Schifrin soundtrack, which was later then clipped and used for the 11 o'clock news by local stations all over the nation for years. So it was a very influential movie, and it also has that wonderful last scene with the crane. It's one of the first sort of like fadeaways that they do.
Yes.
Where that's a long shot fadeaway. I don't know if it's a helicopter shot.
Helicopter crane shot, basically.
Yes, but it's an incredible bit of cinematography. And Paul Newman does not win the Academy Award that year. If I'm not mistaken, he loses it to Schofield for A Man for All Seasons.
And he lost for HUD too. He got nominated.
He didn't win it for anything until
Color of Money, which was not his best acting.
That horrible film sequel, that was bad. But they gave it to him because they didn't give him one before that.
He deserved it for The Verdict. He deserved it for. Yeah, who won the year for The Verdict? Was that Ben Kingsley and Gandhi? I mean,
maybe.
Well, hold on, Mark.
Hold on,
we are.
You know what though? The Oscars are just another industry patting themselves on the back. The cream always rises to the top. So I don't think Paul Newman's career was hurt in any way, shape, or form by
Ben Kingsley won that year
for Gandhi. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I mean, Susan, you're right, but you know what? I grew up in a house where the Oscar night was one of the high holy days. That was in fact, my mother routinely would banish us kids in the room. She'd make us some popcorns and some snacks, and then she would host a wonderful Academy Award party for her friends, while we were locked in the small chamber underneath the stairs. It was great because that we grew up.
That reminds me. We should do the unis at Ned's Club one of these nights, Mark, if you want.
At some point soon, we need to reestablish this then and do some more stand up and
if Ned would be agreeable to that. If anyone else joins you tonight, please give my regards.
Will do. Thank you for your poem.
I will see you next Monday for the last show before the end of the year. And
congratulations.
Where did he go?
Oh, he's somewhere. We'll figure it out. Congratulations on your change in status that you've now achieved.
Thank you.
You now achieved. Hey, have you had a chance to go?
And hopefully we'll have Santa back to give us a recap of the.
Hey, have you had a chance to go over and I mean, you guys said there have been a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Have you had a chance to just go over and meet the new one and spend a little quality time here as the new official doting grandparents or?
She's in her house.
I never left her side.
There you go.
From admission to till that night. The father of the baby spent that night, and I came back the next morning. So I tried to get a little sleep, but I had been up for like, 39 hours or something. So I needed, with like a 20-minute nap somewhere in there. But it was, when you see a film for 2 hours and it's very edge of your seat type intense.
Yeah.
Imagine 26 hours of that.
Yeah.
And life or death kind of scary component. So
you see, my brothers and I, we were all born back in the day when there was like general anesthesia administered, and if you
there's
had
a story to tell there too. But again, it's Jillian's story. So Mark,
No,
maybe
I'm
if
not.
she wants to share, you can interview her
I'm
next week.
talking about the early 1960s, way back when my brother and I decided to make our entrance into the world, and then my mother very shortly after that went to her doctor and grabbed her by the throat and said, "I want the pill now."
Okay. Hey,
And
listen, I
that
want
was
to tell you all before I go.
Yeah.
If you're watching this on YouTube, anyone, and you're tired of watching and you get to this point, flip over to Livonia Civic Chorus. Our new concert went live today on YouTube.
Hold on.
And you can skip all of it if you want, but just go to about 11 and a half minutes in and enjoy the song where I play the flute.
Let me find the link here, and I'll post
Livonia Civic Chorus, about approximately 11 minutes and 30 seconds into the video is a song where I have a solo on the flute. So enjoy.
All right. Well,
you can enjoy the rest of the concert, which is almost 2 hours, but 11 and a half minutes in is my highlight.
How was the video? Because I did not like the theater this year, but I did like the program.
Our city has a new senior center, and that was our venue this year. And I prefer the church, the acoustics, and everything, and the other venues that we've had in the past. But it was a new venue, and it was nice to go there. It's a very nice facility, but it felt more like performing in a high school cafeteria. So.
Yeah, it was a senior center cafeteria, is basically.
I think the photographers and audio technicians did a very good job. And so if you want to watch the video on YouTube and see my flute solo, 11 and a half minutes in. All right. Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right. When I find that particular video, I'm going to put a link to it up here.
All right. Okay. Just come in and just throw us out of the nest like a cowbird and plop her flute solo right in the middle of the whole affair.
It was a good show. It was really a good show.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is right here. Let me see if I can get the link. There
you go. Yeah, next week we'll have Andy back with us, because if he still's doing the Santa thing after Christmas Day, that's when you start getting the restraining orders. That's
exactly.
Like Santa,
and that was at 2834. We had the
we had the Santa with the bottle.
The child, what do you call it? Child.
Well, the inappropriate behavior in the Santa outfit.
There we go.
The post December 24th, 25th Santa affair is we got to do something about that. And oh my goodness. So at any rate, I'm just trying to find the right background here. I am such a slave to technology. They have the new iPhone 17 out, and it will be surpassed next year by the iPhone 18, but yet I want it. So
you got to do what you got to do.
We'll see what happens. You know how it is. I mean, we'll figure it out. Here we go. Picture of me and Marlon looking soulfully into someone's eyes.
Now there's a way for me.
My eyes are there.
Did I get it done? No, that's not.
Yeah, that's not it. Well, whatever. It'll do for now.
Oh, here we go. I think this. Yeah. There we go. There's the link to what Susan was talking. That's the first show. I don't know if you want to. Can you click on that? Let me find it.
I suppose that you could. I'm not going to do it because I think it would boot me out of here, and I don't know if that's what we want to do right now.
No, when I hit it, when I hit it, the options are remove,
Yeah.
remove it, mute the sound, or edit the mic settings. That's the only. I don't get an option for viewing this thing.
Aha.
All right. Well, let's get rid of that.
Well, there you go. And
anyway, that's it right there. So, if anybody wants to watch, I'm probably going to. I'm probably going to Bitly that. Oh! Something we need to talk about. As far as production of the show, we'll do it after the show.
Yeah.
But there's a new feature on StreamYard.
Okay.
I'm going to try it out after the show.
Mm-hmm.
Where they use AI to develop clips from the show you just did. So
you
the
can do
live
some
show.
shorts.
And so I can do like 30 seconds, and you know, you can. I'd rather have AI do it because you know how technically inefficient I am.
Yeah, well,
but with those it would be nice because then we can put them on Instagram and Facebook and other places, you know, to lead them back to the YouTube page.
Okay. Are you using the tablet tonight, may I ask?
I am using the tablet, yes.
Because you're just really coming through just 5x. It's just beautiful. It's just like, wow, I definitely got to get in there and do an update on that. But
here's why you got to do an update every time.
Very nicely.
Every time I turn it on, it wants me to. I'll have to take a picture of it. What it wants me to do.
Oh no!
And I always say not now. I always kill
it
the not now button because I don't want to. You know, it's like 10 minutes before we're going live. I don't want to screw up my thing.
No.
As long as it's right now, it's working for us. We're not doing anything fancy. We don't need anything fancy done to it. So.
And you don't.
But it would be nice. It would be nice if I could hook up a mouse to this thing. I got a keyboard on it.
Yeah.
And there's a mouse pad, but I like the mouse. I like this kind of mouse. You know?
Well, I'm just saying, if you're going to click on something, if you see the Santo Domingo prison tour, don't click on that.
Don't click on that.
No.
Why don't you send me the list?
It'll probably
roll out like Santa's good little
good
little children list.
Who's been good and who's been naughty?
Yeah,
and who's
but
been
yours,
really...
you'll send me your naughty list of things I should not be clicking.
You know, it's bad enough when I ask if the race car bed will accommodate a 6-foot-tall adult male, and they kind of look at me. It's like, okay, you're on the list now. You're on the watch list, pal.
Have you noticed that in comedy? You don't go to enough shows. Like
no, I don't.
I do, but don't Google that has become that's what she said of this decade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, remember how everybody used to go, that's what you'd say something that was suggestive, someone go, oh, that's what she said. Now it's like you'd say something that's suggestive, go, don't Google that, you know.
Oh my goodness. You know, what can I say here? I'm just trying to find there we go. Janet Leigh.
Oh, Psycho. Janet Leigh. Is that from Psycho? Oh,
that is. Remember that when she's leaving town, she's got that look on her face. She just bought the used car, paid cash. She's styling. Didn't she
rip off? Didn't she? She stole from her employer, right?
It was like $20,000, which at that time would have been like $200,000 to us now. You know.
Well, the best part about it was the Simon Oakland speech at the end, where you see the car going into the water.
So. Yes. Oh, they're slowly dragging it out. It's emerging from the swamp.
And there was there was money in there, and wasn't Peter? I'm trying to think of the actor's name.
Anthony Hopkins.
No, Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Perkins.
No. The guy that he killed. There was a guy that, like, her lover, I think, got killed. He was in the trunk too. I don't recognize.
Yeah. No, I think what's his name? Was it E.G.? No, who played the guy who played the detective? Remember the private detective? Martin Balsam, right? Who also, we see the shot where he gets killed by the quote-unquote mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, again, there's a great story behind how that movie gets made. Dana Gould related it on his podcast, but essentially, Hitchcock had the summer off from shooting his TV show, and he had the idea for this movie, and they were not high on him doing anything other than the TV show. So they set all sorts of rules saying, well, you can't use the main studio, and we're not going to do this, and we're going to, and you got it. And he's like, don't worry about it. And so he basically ends up shooting it at the same studio where he shot his TV show, shot it in black and white. And because they put all these restrictions on it, he owned the movie and most of the distribution rights. And it turns out to be like the summer hit of the season. So all it did was, like, like put piles of cash in Alfred Hitchcock's bank account,
Mhm.
and whereas if they just kind of played along, they would have done perhaps a little bit better. But such is life, and we end up getting a pretty good movie out of the whole. I love it the way her eyelashes look like they're coming out of my head as horns. So
What's your
there's Janet.
yeah.
Boy,
what is your work schedule like? And we should talk. No, that's off. And when we get off camera, we'll talk about
it.
Yeah, we need to talk about production stuff.
I'm easy to get a hold of. You just got to chalk a pentagram into the ground, and then you make sure you want to like put a circle around it in salt. Then you have to kill the goat. Yeah, and then they'll light the 5 candles, and to northeast, south, and west, and then one in the center. Well, perhaps I've said too much.
You and I need to do it. You and I need to do a sit down. With our laptops or whatever. What do you use at home?
I use my iPhone right now. I have the iPad over here, which Sam's iPad, which unfortunately I'm coming to learn has become rather outdated.
He has one older than mine. Isn't his older than mine?
His is much older than you. His in terms
because you sent him that one before you sent me this one.
Yeah, that one that you have is not only that, but I mean I bought this one was basically AT&T. That's how I got it reasonably cheap. AT&T buys a bunch of these and then they sell them over the course of a year or two. They were already boat anchors when they bought them. But I get it for like half what it would normally have cost. Whereas the one you have came straight out of the Apple store. So
also I know it's a later model because instead of having the lightning cable to charge it, it's got the USB-C cable.
Yes, exactly.
Which it's sort of a
that's the dividing line of the newer stuff. And I've been thinking about, do I want to grow up to a newer phone? But the thing is, I've just paid this stuff off. It's like maybe I should get off the debt wagon for just a couple of months, huh? How about that?
Yeah, how's that working for you?
Yeah. How about just not be a debt slave for just a couple of months, okay? This whole thing could go tits up tomorrow, and maybe, I mean, I'm looking at the economy, and they're saying this and that and the other thing, and your wife makes a very interesting and I think valid point about the whole oil tanker. It's not just piracy. The reason why they're seizing these tankers is because this is oil that is essentially black market oil, and it's being used to create slush funds that are then used for covert operations between Venezuela and Russia. However, it looks an awful lot like piracy. It does involve American military ships, and the Russians are sending submarines in there to protect their commercial assets. So
what commercial stuff does Russia have in the Caribbean?
Well, you see that they use Venezuela as sort of a clearing station because it's sort of like why does the mafia own towing companies and laundromats and video arcades, right? They're completely legitimate businesses, of course, don't you know? Never made
that. Do you have any problem about everything being about Trump?
I don't. What are you gonna do, right? I mean,
I know, but to me, it's like. I just, I've heard one theory in that Trump, Xi in China, and Putin are all kind of relaxing on each other. So Putin can take Ukraine, Xi can take Taiwan.
That will never happen.
Trump will get the whole Western Hemisphere.
Well, the whole Taiwan thing will never, because again, we outsourced our chip manufacture. And the chips that Taiwan produces are important not only to us but to everyone. You'll notice that the specialty made pagers and walkie-talkies that are now handless friends in the Middle East used to use. They're now having to use the other hand to hold things. Were manufactured in Taiwan with Taiwanese consent, so to speak. And also, you have to understand, although Taiwan is not an acknowledged nuclear power, in fact, they were kind of scolded for trying to get the bomb back in the 70s. Very quietly, they've been working with Israel, and we're at a stage in life now, you don't need to test a weapon to know that it works. We have a design, we put it together. Trust me, this thing, we've tested it in the past, it's good to go. I will assure you that Taiwan has probably a dozen or more medium-sized nuclear weapons sitting in a vault somewhere, waiting to get bolted onto a Dassault Mirage or whatever aircraft they use, just in case our dear friends the Chinese are foolish enough to land on their shores.
So that scares me.
That's terrifying.
It scares me too. It scares me too that you get somebody who's small and basically going to get their ass kicked without the nuclear weapon, has a nuclear weapon.
Then they got to
if you don't use it, then when do you use it? You know what I mean?
That's why we call it the use it or lose it problem. Yes, and so that's exactly right. But the thing is, once you do have these, for instance, is anyone talking about invading North Korea? No, they're not. North Korea is a very shady.
Well, haven't we? But the thing is, haven't we seen that countries like North Korea, they're just going to collapse, just like the Soviet Union collapsed.
Well, we keep saying that, but yet here they are, still there.
Yeah, Cuba's still there. Cuba's still there too. So
we thought for sure that Cuba, yeah, exactly. Once Fidel was finally gone, but no, it's that. After a while, these things go on. I mean, Putin. I mean, the whole thing with Putin is that if it isn't for that war economy keeping him in place, he goes to his dacha where he has a tragic flu or falls out of a window, or maybe the plane has an engine problem. I mean, how the Russians like to get rid of their problematic leadership. It's not the first time it's happened. Won't be the last. Right. And he knows it. He's not stupid. He came through the KGB. We don't have to teach him history. He knows it. He was the guy planting the bomb, paying off the mechanic. Of course, the mechanic and his whole family would then disappear because, loose ends. The comedy showcase, by the way, people, comedy. We're all about the comedy. It's all about the yucks.
Comedy.
But the thing is, oil is fungible. You got a tanker full of oil. You can, if you know the right people, it's like, hey, you try and sell it on the street, nobody's gonna want it. But it's like, hey, Bill, what am I? A few gallons of oil?
Give me your wisdom on Venezuela. Do they have anything other than ground troops? Do they have like an Air Force or a Navy or anything like that?
No. But you don't want to invade because you're still going to have a population that is reasonably well armed to some degree.
I've seen some photos that they've reported on. Yeah,
I'm sure the Venezuela. Even if it were Canada, I wouldn't be happy. I mean, if the Gordon Lightfoot division decided to invade across the Niagara Falls, I still would. I'm sure it would be melodic, but I don't know that I'd necessarily want them. When we invaded Canada in the War of 1812, they kicked our ass. We lost. And believe me, the Canadians remind us of it every chance you get. We won the War of 18. Yeah, I know. Get over it, pal. Okay, you got to keep Windsor. Good for you.
1812. They were part of Britain, though. So
yes, they were still part of the British Empire. Nevertheless, we and some of the biggest battles against the British we won on the Great Lakes. But
right.
Still, I mean, the thing is with Venezuela, again, they're acting as the bank. They're that shady shop that's open, that's not open, but it's open, and people keep going in and out the back door. I mean, maybe there's a poker game going on at 3:00 in the morning around back. Who knows? And there's a lot of money that's sort of getting rinsed and moved around. That's what's going on. That's why these tankers are getting scotched, as it were. And by the way, it's happened over in the Far East where Russia has put some tankers out of action and the Ukraine has put some tankers out of action. But the thing is, you're messing with the world's energy supply. I don't know if that's a good idea. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's a bad one. I'm pretty certain of that. So who knows? It should have never gotten this far. Joe Biden gave the go-ahead on the invasion. He said, well, as long as it's a small incursion, I guess it'll be okay. Wars are very easy to start.
Hard to get out of.
This is not the just me being profound. You and I grew up in a time when we had a war gifted to us that was supposed to be something reasonably easy that would be over in no time at all, and yet we saw plenty of our older brothers coming back a little freaked out, sometimes maimed, sometimes in a box, and our entire society eventually consumed by this thing because this war just wouldn't freaking end no matter what we did. and we found ourselves going down a very dark, savage tunnel. And after a while, it's like, what are we doing this for? What is this all about? What, they're not doing anything to us. Why are we here?
My mom thought it was her patriotic duty to rent our basement bedroom to guys coming back from Vietnam.
Right.
And I think it was like maybe the second or third one that screamed bloody murder in the middle of the night as
Yeah.
as their dreams and nightmares woke them up.
Yes.
Yeah, we better stop doing that.
Yeah. As a
We're
kid,
scared. We're scaring the kids.
I was admonished by my mother. It's how I learned the thing I'm sure you had to teach your children when they're little. Don't stare. It's rude to stare.
Exactly.
Because you would see young men with no legs, or with one leg, or with no arms, and these were, you know, to me, of course, they look full grown, but looking back on it, no, they were kids coming back from the war. And what can I say? You know, what best left. Did you see Trump unveiling yesterday, plans to build new battleships? Two brand new huge battleships.
I don't necessarily, you know, as long as they're built here, I'm not, you know what I mean? Because that, to me, that's when government puts money into the economy, and that's a good thing, I think.
But we could do better than that. How about if we were to, like, say, I don't know, rebuild a neighborhood how about a steel refinery or a steel foundry in Detroit, or a manufacturing center?
We got them.
Yeah,
we got Detroit. In fact, and I know you don't go to Detroit like I go to Detroit.
Well, not like you go to Detroit.
It's a totally different ground now. They're now attracting new industries from around the world because they have the land available. Mike Duggan got in there and said, you know, if a house is only worth $500, let's take it down, because the property was worth more when the house was off of it than it was with the house on it, basically, because everything was, you know, so shitty.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're seeing more residential development about it. You're seeing more industrial about it. I'd like to see them put a sportsman's club in there, because they've got land now. They could put, in other words, Detroit does not have a racetrack. Detroit never did have a racetrack. All of the Michigan International Speedway.
Horses or cars?
The Detroit Dragway. I'm talking about a speedway.
Okay. All right.
But I'm thinking, if we've got the land now, we could do a horse track and a car track. Make it part of a sportsman, a hunt club. We got enough room for a hunt club. They could have a polo field. I mean, there's just so much room here.
Well, look at what Ford did with the old train station. I mean, the train station was a blight on society, and everyone's looking at it.
It was a logo.
Yeah.
It was a logo for the decline of American industrial strength. Yeah.
Come see the ruin porns of Detroit, or the ruins of Detroit. I mean, and look at it now. Look at what Ford's done with it since then. That hospital.
And you know what? When they just got done. They just spent 5 years ripping down the Packard plant.
Yeah.
Which at one time was like 27 blocks. I mean, it was the largest plant in Detroit. Yeah. And Packard hasn't made a car there.
This was 58?
58, right, exactly. Yeah. And so it just stood there. I mean, 58, that's, let's see, 60, that's 42 plus 25. I mean, shit, that's,
67.
That's 67 years.
Yeah.
Well, when they tore it down, they left 2 standing.
Well, yeah, you can come and look at the.
The thing is, they left the 2 standing because in that time they started ripping it down. 2 investors bought the Fisher Body plant number 21. Well, that tells you right there that at least 21 plants. I think they have more than 21, but plant 21 is now a residential development. Right. And so there is room for some of these old historic buildings, and I love some of these buildings. There's about 3 buildings in Detroit now. I wish were still around. That if they could have made it in their decay for 12 more years, like the train station did. All these buildings, there are people that have been wanting to rip them down just because.
I would have loved to have seen them do something with the American Motors headquarters, which I know is now gone.
That's one of the buildings. The other one is the United Artists Theater.
Yeah.
That got ripped down. And the other one is a building that my grandfather had an office in at one time, the Lafayette building.
Yeah.
If you ever go to Lafayette, Coney Island, what's not there anymore is that giant 15-story building that stood behind it.
The Lafayette, when did they take that down? Has that been gone for a while, or?
We're going to find out.
We have the internet, folks. It is.
When was the Lafayette building in Detroit taken down? Da, 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 da. 20, they started in 2009. It was demolished by 2010.
Okay,
They
you're right.
started October 2009. By February 24th, it was all down. 2009 to 2010. So that's that 15 years ago.
We still have the Golden Tower of what is that, the Penobscot building? If
the Fisher building.
Fisher building.
Here's the buildings that'll never go down because of their historic and architectural value. The Guardian building.
Yes.
My wife works on floor 31 down there. And that shouldn't even be a Wayne County. It's the Wayne County offices for the county.
Yeah.
And it's only been that way for maybe 25 years.
Right.
Because it was built by the Guardian Insurance Company built the Guardian building. But before it even opened, the Guardian Insurance Company went bankrupt in the 29 crash and all kinds of crap. But anyway, so the Guardian building, the Fisher building will never come down.
Right.
The Penobscot building will never come down.
Right.
The Buell building will never come down.
Yeah.
Buell is a relative of, I can't remember if it's a Ford relative or a GM relative, but Buell is a name.
Right.
The Chrysler House, they call it the Chrysler House, but it's a skyscraper.
Yeah.
That'll never come down. I think they only call it, the reason they don't call it the Chrysler building is because the one in New York is a little bit more famous.
Yeah.
And at one time was the tallest building in the world.
But things like Cobo Hall,
Cobo Hall is Cobo Hall is still there. It's been expanded. Cobo Arena
is gone.
And well, the shell of it is still there.
Really?
But, yes, the shell of Cobo Arena is still there. But what they did was they took the arena space and inside of it they built 3 stories of
exhibition
space in there.
Okay.
So it's really part of the hall now.
Joe Louis, of course. The
Joe Louis Arena is gone, but that had no architectural significance.
Well, other than it housed the Red Wings. But
well, so did Olympia Stadium had more historical significance than Joe Louis, just because they won 3 or 4 Stanley Cups there.
Yeah,
but,
no, it was a horrifying building. I agree. The Ford Auditorium is gone.
Another building that won't come down. All those buildings along Woodward, now that they've been refurbished and they got tenants in them. I mean, when I used to live downtown on Cadillac Square. And that's a building that won't come down either. The Cadillac Square apartments used to be called the Barnum Hotel.
Yes.
It was, or the Barnum. It was confused as the Barnum Hotel because when the circus was in town, they always put their performers in that hotel. And because Barnum and Bailey was the circus, people often called that hotel the Barnum Hotel, but it was actually, the name of it was the Barnum.
The building that's across the street from Book Cadillac. I can never remember its name. It's not the Book Cadillac anymore, but you know the building I'm talking about.
Which corner are we talking? It's on the corner of Washington and Michigan.
Yes, the one that has a beautiful corniche. It was abandoned for a good 30 years, and they started. I mean, it's a tall building.
Is this the one across from Washington or across?
I think it's
Michigan
across
Avenue.
I think it's across from. Well, it's right there at that corner.
That's
across the street from the hotel.
Okay, that's gone, but that was only 3 stories or 4 stories.
No, this thing was like 30 stories. This is a big.
Are you talking about the book building?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the book building is 2 blocks north of the.
Okay. Well, what can I say? I just met a guy in a parking lot there once, but never mind that.
We're at 5335. Before we get the Jason trolling reference.
Yeah, to 50. Yeah, there we go. And at any rate, yes. But that building was abandoned for many years, and they've since put some money into it and
it's
refurbished it.
It's open back up. It's open back up now. They've got a lot of these places are being turned into residential.
Yes.
Which when I hear story in New York, they're trying to do this because in New York, the problem they're having in New York is that the pandemic got people to work from home.
Yeah, the work from home gig.
Right. And so now that everybody can work from home, all this office space isn't needed. And for whatever reason, the buildings in Detroit are easily converted from office to residential than the ones in New York. And I think the reason is because a lot of the buildings in New York are a little bit newer.
Yeah.
And they weren't built where you needed to have 3 or 4 toilets on every floor.
All the plumbing.
You had larger restrooms. And so the plumbing doesn't go throughout the whole floor. Where in Detroit, when these buildings were all built because all of New York's buildings were built after the 1920s, are the ones that were built in the 20s have been ripped down for even bigger buildings,
Right.
and they're not built for residential. Whereas in Detroit, they're more easily converted from residence. Even the Renaissance Center, they're going to rip down 2 towers and they're going to make part of the Renaissance that's left over into
That's
residence.
what I heard. They were going to rip down part of the Rensen. No, are we talking about the 2 auxiliary towers that they built in the 80s?
No, not the 2 auxiliary. In fact, one of the auxiliary towers just got bought by some foreign investor. He's going to do all kinds of shit
because there's 5 towers that. Well, I guess
6 towers.
There's 6 towers altogether.
Well, 7. There's 7. If
7.
The cylinder.
Right. There's the big one in the middle, and
right. The 2 they're going to take down are the 2 closest to the river. So the 4 other than the hotel, which is the tallest, there's the 2 behind it, and then the 2 to the side of it. They're going to line up. They're going to look like 4. They're going to look like the 4 tops, or they're going to look like the pips. They're going to look like the pips behind Gladys Knight on the river.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe Motown will buy it and do something with it. I don't know. But anyway, and there's a new they've expanded the Motown Museum. We'll get to that later. I've only got 5 minutes left. But no, they're going to tear down those 2 towers in the front. They're going to make make it part of the riverfront. Okay. And so it's going to be what they want to do for a long time, from the Belle Isle Bridge to the Ambassador Bridge. It's all going to be public access, walk, and bikeable.
Well, that's been something that they've needed to do for a long time, because they do have a spectacular waterfront, and between having Belle Isle on the one side out. Well, Belle Isle is actually out there in the river. Yeah, I mean that's a good idea. That's great.
Well, actually, Belle Isle is actually closer to Canada than it is to Detroit.
Yeah, but it's still
in fact by that point in the city, it's not even part of Windsor, because Windsor has not got the footprint that Detroit has. By the time you get to Belle Isle, Windsor's city limits have already.
Is the burned out wreck of the Boblo boat still there, or has it been?
The burned out wreck of the Boblo boat is in either Ecorse or River Rouge. I can't remember, but it's still there. They are not going to. It had a fire.
Yeah,
so they're going to restore it, not as a passenger vessel, but as a museum, a floating museum.
Yeah. Okay.
It's got some. By the time all that stuff gets done, nobody's going to remember what it's going to be like. It's going to be like the USS Constitution in Plymouth, Massachusetts. It's like,
what happened to Boblo? I mean, that was on an island, if memory serves, right? I mean,
Boblo was sold. Boblo was sold to a real estate developer, and it's a neighborhood now. A very hoity-toity neighborhood.
How does one get to it? Does it still require a ferry, or is there?
Yep, it's still a ferry to get there, but the people that now. You can ferry cars over there, so you can move around the island on a vehicle. But most people, they might, if they have a vehicle, there's nothing on the island other than homes. There's no businesses, so you're still going across the river to get your supplies.
Now, was that on the Canada side, or is that still an American?
That's always been on the Canada side. That always has been the Canada. I remember going to Boblo as a kid. Yeah, came back with Canadian cash, which when I was a kid was par with the.
Monopoly set, or
it was par with our money. My daughter gave me $140 of Canadian money that she won at the casino over there. Goes, I says, "Can you change it for me?" She says, because she has an account like with a what do you call it, a net bank or something, one of those banks that you don't have. So I says, I'm a customer at Chase. I'll go over and change it. Her $140 was only $92. When I changed it.
Got pictures of King Charles on it. I mean, come on. What do you want to do? I mean,
well, we got a minute left, so I'm going to start the music here. Hold on.
There you go.
Where's my music? Come on, baby.
I've got.
Here it is.
There you go.
Up a little bit. There we go.
There you go. By this time next week, we'll have Andy back.
Hopefully Kurum can show up. We'll chat during the week. We'll figure out. He had forgotten when he said he'd do it next week. Next week that he was going to be at his mother's.
Picked him up. He came back from one of his travels and has some beautiful pictures to share.
We'll find out how Costa Rica. I know so many people go to Costa Rica for vacation. Must be a great place.
I go there because there's no extradition treaty. And that comes in at 9 o'clock.
59:47. He does.
Snuck it in. Just right at the end there.
All right. Well, we're gonna turn the music up and get out of here. We'll see everybody again next week at 8 o'clock.
Yep, we'll do.